to Grove Studios. I'm Ben.
And I'm Glenn.
From the Butterfly Effect, and we're recording our brand new album, The Final Conversation of Kings, here. So come on in and have a look around with us. From the sky, the ashes rain as we... A place called Mangrove, which is, I'd say, about probably 10, 15 minutes out of Gosford on the central coast.
Yep, New South Wales.
It was built by Gary Beers, who was the old Unix, or he is still the Unix bass player.
As you'll see, this is our wonderful plaque that we've already received for the album that we haven't even made yet. Eskimo Joe previously occupied this spot, but the other morning it fell off the wall, so we figure it's a bit of an omen. So we're hoping that
we're coming to gaze.
It's a really great spot because the house that we're staying at is actually attached to the studio as well, so we have the opportunity to be able to get up every morning and basically walk next door and start recording, and we can be ready to be creative at any time. I'm still waiting for that to happen, but... To catch the fire from the light as we hide.
I had a couple of days of hitting golf balls down at there's a little par 3 golf hole down the back here, where I'm really not good at that. Probably about 20 minutes past the dam down is the green, is the goal. I think I've hit it there twice, out of about 200 balls. Jackass! Oh, sorry, Kookaburra. I miss. I always miss. Like, I don't even hit the ball. Oh, I'm the prize. There's 2 trees that have fallen down on the property somewhere, and they've made AFL goals out of them. I've had a couple of moments, soul buzzer's gone, siren's gone, and it's just me. No one can see, but kicked a few winning goals over there.
There you go.
Come on. Been cooking dinners, lots of dinners.
How long has Kurt been making this sandwich for?
Do you reckon I should put some on?
Kurt knows.
Put it underneath the tomato. Underneath the slice. Hurry up, hurry up. Hurry up.
Hang on, I'm blocking. Oh, no, you dirty.
Idiots!
Why would you do such a thing?
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We're off to practice our golf.
See you soon.
Go on, get.
Absolutely a statement of just willful destructiveness to the band. I wanted it at the end of the album. I thought 7.5 minutes is far too long to open with.
It was a fantastic track to fall asleep to. And the other half of the band wanted it at the front of the record, so it was one of those great moments.
Guess who won? Yeah.
Well, Clint actually left the mixing a little bit earlier than everyone else, so he kind of forfeited his his opportunity, unfortunately.
Stand up. Take a bow. You're leaving. So who's laughing now? Just yourself. By yourself. No one else. There's no one else.
We've always had an intro at the start of the record, and we actually did have an intro for Final Conversation, but we ended up sort of making a bit more of a track out of it and putting it at the end of the album and opting for the softer start with Worlds on Fire.
I wanted it at the beginning. I wanted the last song at the beginning.
Originally that was the idea, was the last song would be the first and the first the last, but then...
So my whole decision-making part of being in the band was usurped very early, and I don't think I think they're kicking me out at the end of this album.
Now you wake up tired, so
The place where you recorded as well was definitely a space that was very conducive to taking the time you wanted. We saw a bit of it on Triple J TV back in August when we were invited into your studio, which is on the central coast of New South Wales. It looks really beautiful in that spot. Can you kind of describe that space and what it was like making an album there?
It was fantastic. There was a big sort of man-made lake out the side and beautiful, natural native Australian trees everywhere. We went jogging down bush paths and through nature walks, and so it really was quite a relaxing time, although we did work very hard when we were in the studio.
It's sort of like it's a tranquil little forest.
It's just a
scene.
hideaway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A getaway. Benny made friends with a snake.
Yep.
That was good. That was great.
Did you have a pet snake for the
They
recording?
got a resident diamond python. There's two of them actually that hang out around the studio. I think apparently I had been introduced to Monty, who was the smaller one of the two.
He didn't like you very much.
He wasn't very fond
Monty
of me,
Python,
no.
I love it.
There you go.
You know what? And that whole time I didn't think of that once.
Really?
So not bright.
You're so well. You just clearly don't live your life as a giant pun. Well, it's very much tying into the metal dream, isn't it? You guys befriending snakes while you make a heavy album. Did you feel like you're a bit of a cliche when you were handling that python?
No, well, I didn't handle it. I touched it once, and it really it wanted to kill me, and so I sort of stayed at arm's distance from it for the rest of the trip, and we just lived harmoniously from that point onwards. Actually, got footage of it. I didn't realise how close it was that Glenn edited up some footage on our MySpace, and I'd patted its tail. And it turned around and had a go, and it actually was closer than I thought.
Won't be making that mistake twice.
No.
Horns are something that appear throughout the record. I think it sounds like you've got a bit of a cornet going on the way, and there's horns again on The Promise of Truth. Is this something new for the Butterfly Effect, to take in, I guess, a broader instrumental palette?
Not really. I think we dabbled a little bit on Begins Here with Overwhelmed. We put some trumpet in it, and that seemed to work rather well. And not only that, I was sitting in practice. The reason why we did it, I used to sit at practice and cup my hands over the microphone and make these sort of sounds, and that's always fun. And so it sort of sat well with the music, and we decided to give it a shot. Not only that, there's some vibraphone.
Got Tyrone Noonan, previously
George.
George, who I think still is in George, came in and put some Wurlitzer and some different sort of keyboards and some Rhodes and stuff in Worlds on Fire as well. So I think we had the luxury of a little bit of extra time across the whole period that we could play with those sort of things and add in the little extra bits of production, I guess you call it.
That's right. Yeah, just to flavour the mix.
Tell me about the title of this album. It's a big title. When I first read it and thought about the poker thing, I thought maybe it was a card reference. Final Conversation of Kings. What does it mean? Where's it from?
It's a Latin phrase, Ultima Regia Regum, which translated is the
last
words, the last conversation of kings, which is when they're fighting, when you can mediate no more and you have to go to war. We changed it to final because it just sounds a bit better. There was just some recurring sort of conflict themes amongst the lyrics, just that sort of stuff.
Right.
So Glenn did his geeky thesaurus search and came back with that, which was very interesting, and we liked it. It's interesting.
Yeah, it seems like a very definite thing to name an album as well. Do you think it reflects the kind of themes that are going on in the record as well, particularly in the kind of lyrics that are going on in this new Butterfly Effect album?
Yeah, that could be a good point, Zan. The album is based, basically every song is about a character in a greater story. So it's about personal conflict, world conflict, how we feel about emotional conflict, all of that sort of thing. I just wanted to maybe step away from the personal side of the lyrics and maybe open up to some characterization, but still keeping it as personable and as accessible as I could.